Welcome to the first weekly Terra Osmosis report. This is a project that Edwin's been working on his Twitter account. Edwin, can you just remind us all of your Twitter username, please?
Yes, sir. What's up, everybody? So on Twitter, I am Edwin D. Monroy. So you can also see it here on the video. But yeah, this is a curation project that I've been working on for the last 2 weeks. And I'm glad that some people are finding it valuable. For me, it's been just a way to keep me organized and stay up to date on what's going on. And what I realized is that I have been posting some of the stuff that is not as mainstream. Like for example, DYDX is something that everybody heard about. So I didn't want to focus on that. I wanted to focus on a little bit of the smaller projects that were bringing out just updates on what they were doing.
Cool, that's really interesting the way you describe that. So what does it take for something to get into your weekly report?
Honestly, I am just keeping a tab on the daily of some of the updates coming from Terra money, from the Terra projects, or anything individually that I see or that our mods bring to our attention on our Discord server. And then on Osmosis, similarly looking at Osmosis Zone, looking at their marketing ministry, looking at some of the influencers that I follow from Osmosis, and just paying attention to what they're releasing, right? The threads that they're doing and different things like that. But right now, it really is still very organized because there's not as much information compared to when we were with Terra. Before the crash, there was so many different projects being released. But right now, since Terra is still just starting and Osmosis as well, they're expanding into having other um, dApps building within their ecosystem. So for right now, it's been pretty easy, but I do imagine that in the next few months, as both of them start to grow, it might get a little bit harder to just filter it. But I also don't want to make it like an insanely long thread. I want to keep it to like around 10 of the I guess most important ones that I find personally.
Absolutely. I mean that's definitely something I appreciate. Like once a Twitter thread gets kind of over 10 posts, it has to be really, really awesome for me to keep reading. So I quite like that sort of length. So yeah, if you can keep it to 10
Yeah.
items of news, you'll definitely keep me reading. One thing you just mentioned there is that some of the news you get from the mods on the OC Discord. So I
Yeah.
think the two that I've seen posting the most news are Brad and V.
Yes.
Anyone who's
Exactly.
not like involved with the OC Discord, we'll drop the link down below. And yeah, come and join the conversation.
Yeah, so let's get through this. So the goal also for this video is just to keep it quick, keep it in a manner that people can pay attention to it or listen to it while they're, I don't know, going for a walk or driving real quick. So 15, 20 minutes at most, I would say. Similarly, with the threads being too long that you don't want to read anymore with videos, sometimes they're too long and you don't want to watch or listen anymore, right? So that's the goal here. And this was released on Saturday, June 25th. So we are on the 27th today, so 2 days after already. So there's already new things out there. But either way, um, I I think this is going to be a good piece of content for us with OC and to start building our YouTube channel. But yeah, so
Awesome.
let's get started. So the first thing that I thought was pretty cool was just the idea of making it easier for people to onboard towards Osmosis, right? And so here we have the Osmosis Ministry of Marketing just talking about fiat on ramps, and that was something that we were starting to see with Terra as well, right? With the Cato or Caro, I think that was the one that was offering like $2 transaction fee for on ramping money. I think you had made a video on that or some content around that.
And the guys at Cado Money, I call it Cado, but I'm from the UK. Maybe Americans call it Cado, whatever. But yeah, those guys um, are builders. Yeah, hopefully that'll be. I mean, it was working on Terra, so
Yeah.
you'd imagine pretty soon it'll be working on Osmosis.
Yeah, yeah. So definitely again, just making it easier for mainstream and for just regular people to onboard, right? That was the first thing that I wanted to just bring to the attention. Next thing was Leap, Terra, and Astroport working together to bring in wallet swaps, which again is something that I think it's going to release the friction or take some friction away from having to go to individual apps. If your wallet can bring it all together, I think that will make it just more user friendly.
Cool. And one thing I'd heard about Leap is it's not just going to be a Terra wallet, potentially like cross-chain swaps and stuff, which I think sounds pretty epic.
That would be interesting, right? Because then that would mean that, for example, Astroport would also have to um, be have some kind of IBC enabled to get the other um, tokens, coins in the other Cosmos ecosystems.
Sure, I'll be honest with you, I don't know if that's fact or fiction. It's just I saw something on Twitter and I thought, wow, that's potentially pretty epic. You know, like how XDeFi is across loads of different chains. It
Yeah,
seemed to suggest that not Loop, sorry, Leap were thinking of something similar.
it makes sense, man. I think any wallet that pushes towards like doing all of those certain things that we do on the daily, like swaps on their wallet, is going to just attract a lot of users and a lot of transaction volume, and that's where they make their money, right? Just those small fees add up. We had the third inning for Osmosis, right, on June 20th. And so before that, the APR was close to 60%, I think, and now it's at 34.4%. So this is kind of cool, right? They're implementing their tokenomics, implement some kind of the Bitcoin tokenomics as well.
Yeah, man. I mean, I'll be honest with you, like when I first got into Osmosis, I thought it was like a farm and dump token. The more I've learned about Osmosis, the more I love it and think that over time, like it is going to accrue serious value.
Yeah, yeah, I agree with you. And especially as the on ramping continues and their ecosystem continues to grow with other dApps building around there, definitely, I think Osmosis is going to become more valuable. And there's a limit on the token or the coins, the Osmo coins that are going to be out there, right? So if you're accumulating right now, I think that's a good move.
Absolutely. I mean, as far as I'm aware, it's 1 billion total supply. And,
Exactly.
and we already saw it this year. I mean, it hit $11
Hmm.
and we're down at like $1 just now. I don't have much money for accumulation, but like all my rewards, I'm not selling them.
Yeah, yeah. Start accumulating now for sure. Next, we have TFM, right? So they have their DEX aggregator live, and I think that this is going to be pretty cool, just to be able to get the best swaps available, right? And they even help Luna Classic, which is interesting. They have a they have their dApp deployed on Terra Classic as well.
Wow. I'll be honest with you, I've not even looked at that yet. Sounds kind of interesting.
They have a really good UI as well. I was messing around with it, and it's really cool to look at. So I think they've done a good job, and I think they were really close to uh, making a big push before the Terra clash. So it's cool to see them deploy so quickly on Terra too.
Wow. And do we know what TFM stands for, or if it stands for anything?
I'm sure it stands for something. Let me see, because Terraform maybe. I don't know. There was a couple of Terra, uh, s- like form like there's the real estate Terra Firma. I think that was the name of that the app that was being developed. Um, but I don't know if I'll be able to find what TFN means right now.
Yeah, sure, man. No, it's just I was throwing it out there just in case you knew off the top of your head. But yeah, man, if anyone knows what TFM stands for, drop it in the comments down below and teach us something.
I
Thanks,
got it. I
guys.
think I think it's Terraformer. I see under Medium articles they have like Terraformer IDO details, Terraformer IDO quick guide, Terraformer IDO quick guide. So Terraformer seems like it's their name. All right. So next, so this was fun. I don't know if you got a chance to play around with the pixels, but uh, I mean, look at the final picture, right? So there was a time frame in which you can go and participate, and this was an on-chain transaction that you would execute by just putting one pixel on this whiteboard here. And it's awesome to see just so many different pictures, so many different people, wallets participate. And so I was trying to draw OC over here, where you see the two O's here. They look like boobs, right? But well, when I was making it, I kept fighting with somebody. I'm pretty sure it was a bot that kept closing the O. And then I started realizing that a lot of people were using bots. Like Larry was one of them that created a bot to make his avatar here. But this was cool. And so I asked, right, if participation on this on-chain activity will unlock an item for Osmosis NFTs. And this guy, Josh Lee, replied, and he said yes. So that's good to know.
I did a little bit on it. Is it going to matter how much people did? I suppose it might.
Right. So to dive a little bit deeper into this, if you delegate it to because you had to delegate in order to even be able to participate in this. And then there was two tiers. If you delegated to a validator that was in the top 20, you only had black and white pixels. And if you delegated to a validator that was over the top 20, then you would get all the colors essentially. And so there was a bit of, just a gamified version of it where you had to know what to do in order to be able to create whatever art you wanted to create. But yeah, so because of that, I think that there might be a difference in what kind of NFT or accessory or item you get, right? Like there's going to be a different tier, let's say, of that item.
Nice. Yeah, I did try to use a few different colors. I mean, to be honest, I found the user experience quite. I mean, it was fun, but the transactions took like 30 seconds or something to go through, and it was like, I just want to draw something here. Come on. So I gave up quite quickly.
Yeah. It was definitely hard for an individual to create a picture there. But the transaction went through really quick. They had a delay on purpose there for 30 seconds. Um, yeah, that was interesting. But either way, I think Osmosis is having fun, with their tech, and I like this kind of social experiments that they're having here.
Absolutely. Right. What else we got?
All right. So we're at the NFTs in Terra 2, right? So nowhere art. Talus is already live. Talus already had one project mint, and now we have Nowhere Art saying that they've been able to migrate the projects that wanted to migrate from Terra Classic to Terra 2, and the secondary marketplace is live, and you can trade. I went there and I wasn't able to trade. But I don't think people have listed their NFTs yet, because that's another part of it, right? Like you need to make sure that your community knows the migration is done with, and then you can go into Nowhere Art and you can start to list your NFTs for sale if that's what you want to do.
Nice.
All right. And then we have membrane finance. Are you familiar with this?
No,
So
not at
membrane
all.
finance is going to release on Osmosis, right? And so they do a lot of different things. I'll just point a couple of them out here. So this was a thread by Emperor Osmo, and some of the use cases that you're going to be able to do with membrane finance. You're going to be able to deposit, right, and to use that as collateral. You'll be able to bundle. You'll be able to use the collateral and mint, repay, liquidations, leverage yield farming, margin trading, generalized hedging. So there's a lot going on here, right? So super quick thread. So I would suggest if anybody is interested in learning more about membrane finance, this is a good way to get a quick idea of what it will be doing. But there's also going to be a relationship between membrane and Mars protocol, which is cool.
Epic. Give this guy a shout out again with Emperor Osmo.
Yeah, so he is a builder, crypto analytics, and they also got a validator in
Oh yeah,
the name is Hathor Notes. Um, yeah, so I always see him doing a lot of cool threads and providing a lot of information for Osmosis.
nice.
All
So
right,
basically, the definition of a community validator.
exactly,
Respect half our nodes.
exactly. And then the last two here for the thread is one I wanted to just point out a couple of cool threads and then a couple of cool tools. And so for the first thread, we have this guy here. So Ken, he just talks about the relationship between osmosis and Axelar, right? And I think I saw a graphic today that already showed Axelar being like the top three in like TVL in the Cosmos ecosystem after
Mm,
Cosmos and Osmosis and Axelar. So this was interesting to read. Again, just wanted to point out a thread that people can read and get more information about osmosis. But obviously, Axelar is being able to bring more liquidity into Cosmos, right, with USDC. Have you used satellite money, the Axelar bridge?
yeah, man. I
It's
mean,
dope.
it's dope. I mean, the way I did it was I transferred some money from my bank straight onto Polygon.
Mm.
I can't remember the service that I used. I've forgotten the name of it. It might be Ramp or something like that. But that was quick, and that was into USDC. And then I went to Curve on Polygon, swapped it into Axel USDC, and then satellite money. Boom, straight into Osmosis.
Yep, that's exactly what I did too, and the fees were like less than $2.
Yeah, it was.
Uh,
I think it's like $1.50. It cost me to go from Polygon to Osmosis, but yeah,
yeah,
not bad. And it was quick. It
much
was quick.
exactly much better than going to Terra, for example. I think the Terra one's like $20.
Whoa.
And then the second thread here was from Terra Watcher, and I just wanted to point this one out because he gives us a bit of a just optimistic view on the future of Terra, the new Terra, right? Terra 2, because there's obviously a lot of um, people still hurt by what happened, calling it a scam, and we have a new community of lunk burners that also are creating a relationship between Terra Classic and Terra 2. In my mind, they're very separate chains, and so I don't think that the success of Terra 2 is related to Lunk or Terra Classic. But either way, I just wanted to point out this thread by Terra Watcher, as he just gives us a bit of a optimistic view on what projects are building on Terra. And yeah, so I look forward to all of these things coming to fruition here. And then the last thread here is just in regard to tools, right? And so RB app, if people don't know about RB, it gives you some price alerts or some notifications when there's a big difference in um, arbitrage opportunities. So they got some funding from the Terra emergency allocation, so they're back on track. And then Orbital Command, we are now providing some analytics for osmosis. So if anybody is interested in looking at some of some information that might not be available in the regular osmosis website, this might be something that people can benefit from. And so I'm going to try to pull it up really quick, but I don't know if you have some comments.
Yeah, so in general, Orbital Command, Edwin, myself, Terra Watcher, Dr. Droscoin, we are trying to update the website. So these are some tools that Terra Watcher's been working on. And if you go and visit the Orbital Command website, orbitalcommand.io, you may or may not notice some changes that we've made recently, and we'd love some feedback. I mean, if you think something looks good, some of the information is of interest or complicated or whatever, like any feedback you can give us about the website would be appreciated.
Yep,
Constructive feedback, even if there's something you don't like, tell us how we could improve it. If
yeah,
we're doing
yeah.
something well, tell us specifically what it is you like about it. If the font size is too small, too big, if things are distracting, whatever it is, yeah, feedback would be appreciated.
Exactly. Yeah, we've been trying to spend more time on our website, so we've changed the homepage just to make it a little bit more user friendly. We still have our what's hot on Terra page, where we're trying to update on the newer um, apps that are building on Terra. For research, we have some articles here. And then we have the analytics, which is something new as well for the website. And we will have Terra Analytics as well in the future. But for now, it's just Osmosis. But yeah, any
Absolutely.
feedback would be awesome.
And yeah,
Cool.
there's going to be another section about tutorials. I'm going to be dealing with that specifically.
Yeah.
And I think, yeah, Dr. Doscoin's going to be working on a section to do with commentary. So
Yeah.
yeah, definitely some more content on the Orbital Command website.
All right. Well, that's it for the first episode of this Terra Osmosis weekly report. And I hope that it has been informative. At the very least, maybe introduce people to some of the new dApps that are building on Osmosis or Terra. And that way there's some value here.
And if you've got some suggestions for what we could call this show, because currently we're saying it's the Terra Osmosis weekly report, when Orbital Command are validating on like 5 or 6 chains, you know, the Terra Osmosis, Comdex, Secret, Atom weekly report is going to be a bit of a mouthful. So, like, we need a cool name. If you come up with a cool name, yeah, that would be much appreciated. Definitely give you a big shout out for that.
Yeah, and I would imagine, again, right now, Terra and Osmosis are still a growing ecosystem. They're building. So in the future, there might have to be an individual Terra weekly report, individual Osmosis weekly report, right? Because there's going to be so much information that combining both of them just wouldn't be enough of curation, I think. But for now, I think this makes sense.
Absolutely. So, thanks everyone for joining us in this very first episode of the Terra Osmosis Weekly Report.
That's
Appreciate
right.
that,
Take
Edwin.
care, everyone.